Come on.
Do I sound like I'm joking? Do I sound like I'm playing? When you look into my eyes, you understand what I'm saying? Let me say it to you slowly, and it may sound scandalous. I don't think that you can handle this.
All right, we are back. This is Hidden Gems Football. I am TheMoJoKing. He is Mike Steph, formerly Donnie Oooh. I still have the same silly mustache. He still has that very pretty green hat. Should be an Eagles hat, though, because we're talking about the NFC. This episode, we're talking about the NFC South. Maybe not the Eagles, then. Okay, Mike Steph. What do you think about the NFC South? Do you have any big things about it?
The NFC South, my one big thing, and I would try to keep this PG. My one big thing is Tampa Bay. I need to stop acting so silly, but no. In all honesty, Tampa Bay will be my subject for the NFC South. Tampa Bay is coming off an 8-9 losing season, albeit they are the defending NFC South champion. They are coming off a season in which they seen the departure of some would call the GOAT, Tom Brady, ride into the sunset. And you know who his replacement is? Do you know who his replacement is? I'll give you one guess. Baker Mayfield. The same Baker Mayfield that last season actually was at another stop in the NFC South. That was in Carolina. To me, the reason why I single out Tampa Bay is because I believe this is a make or break year for not only Baker Mayfield, but unfortunately for Todd Bowles. Because last year, you think about it, you have pretty much the same cast of characters that you had for the 2 seasons prior, which was a Super Bowl championship victory and a postseason appearance in which they lost in the last seconds in the divisional round. And then he takes that same cast of characters and he leads them to an 8-9 regular season record. He leads them to an embarrassing loss in the postseason against the Dallas Cowboys. I don't want to say it's a referendum on the coaching acumen of Todd Bowles, but some people are meant to be coordinators, career coordinators, and some people can make that next step up to head coach. And right now, in his second stint as a head coach, because once again, you see how everything goes 360 degrees and leads right back to my Jets. He is a former head coach of the New York Jets. And it kind of, at least our tenure, we got 10 wins out of it the first year. Tampa couldn't even get a winning record. They still have Mike Evans. They still have Chris Godwin on the wide receiver front. They still got Russell Gage. So they have parts, albeit once again a year older. They lost Leonard Fournette in the backfield, but they gained Chase Edmonds. I know the defense is shaking in their boots because of Chase Edmonds. But yeah, it really, like I said, it really goes down to it's a make or break year for Todd Bowles, a make or break year for Baker Mayfield to even stay in the league as a potential starting quarterback, because this is his what? He started in Cleveland, then he went to Carolina, then he went to the Rams. So this is his fourth team in less than a season and a half. So all those commercials that you saw with Baker Mayfield are non-existent, and so will his NFL career be if they do not show some fight in a very competitive, albeit weak, NFC South.
I agree with you 100%. This is Todd Bowles and Baker Mayfield's make or break. I wouldn't be overly confident if I had to rely on either one of them. But just to give a little bit more details about the Buccaneers, they now have a new offense coordinator. That is Dave Canellis. He was Seattle's quarterback coach last year, which is significant because Geno Smith was the comeback player of the year while he was the coach. We'll see if he could revamp the offense and do another reclamation project with Baker Mayfield.
You believe there's going to be a correlation between?
I do not, but we're jumping the gun here.
Sorry. Okay. Sorry about that.
But
step back.
I do not believe in this. So at running back, like you said, they signed Chase Edmonds, but I think Rashard White, now in his second year, is going to probably take over and do most of the rushing for the team. He rushed for 481 yards last year behind Fournette, eventually taking over by the end of the season. Yeah, not that impressive, obviously. What is impressive is Evans and Godwin. Both of them went over 1,000 yards again. You know, you mentioned in, I think, the previous show that you have to remember there's 17 games now, not 16. Are we still as high over on when somebody breaks 1,000 yards now? Just a question. Their offensive line, they're going to be full camp battles because they're figuring out things there. And then on the defense, they brought Vita Vea back, and Shaquille Barrett should return from his Achilles injury. They've lost a lot of other pieces. The one thing they did bring back is a safety. They did bring in is a safety, Ryan Neal from the Seahawks. So they got the offensive coach and they got a safety from the Seahawks. Is that going to make them this year's Seahawks? Their record was 8-9. Their expected win total this season is 6.5.
Ooh.
What I got out from you, Mike Steph, is I seem to feel like you're going to go over on this 6.5. What you say?
You would be correct. 6.5, and this is probably going to be an ongoing narrative. There's that word again, narrative. This would be an ongoing narrative that I'm going to have, especially in the NFC, is because of the fact that the NFC to me is weak. It's weak as iced tea. if there's some type of correlation between weak and iced tea, anyway. But yeah, 6.5. I could see them. Look, they went 8-9 with Tom Brady and not playing optimal, and that was like a career low for Tom Brady. Can they get 7 wins with Baker Mayfield? If he plays at the very, very tip top, I can see them getting 7 wins. I'm really shocked about the over under. I really would have thought at least it would have been like 8.5.
I was a little shocked by it. I don't think I expected 8.5, but I did expect 7.5. Because I think 6-7 wins. They have Evans and Godwin. But the one thing that I disagree with you on, we're disagreeing more often now for the new year. All right, let's be rivals. Let's be rivals. But Baker Mayfield's terrible, and he's consistently bad. And I think the fall off from Tom Brady, who I feel like it wasn't only Tom Brady that was the problem with the Buccaneers. I think the offensive line wasn't great. Their rushing attack wasn't great. Todd Bowles, he is not Bruce Arians as far as getting the offense together. And I think all of that was the contributing factor to why, even with the intelligence of Tom Brady, they struggled to get to 8-9 to win the division. I don't think they do the same thing with Baker Mayfield in charge. Their backup is named Kyle Trask. I know nothing about the man. So I am not expecting him to save them either. I would go under. I probably wouldn't bet it just because I don't like the 6.5. I think it's too low. I think you could stumble into 7 and 10. But I don't expect really Baker Mayfield to do much more than that.
Like I said, I'm going over based on the number. Like I don't have any type of feeling that they're going to be a postseason participant, even a postseason contender. It's just maybe it's just sticker shock of Tampa with less than 7 wins. Especially being the fact that over the last couple of years they've been in the hunt or they were Super Bowl contenders. So for them to fall off the cliff so quick, it's just like sticker shock. Like no, but like I said, I think they could get 7 wins.
All right, fair enough. Next up, the Atlanta Falcons. Head coach is Arthur Smith. It's his second year. They have a new defensive coordinator, Ryan Nielsen, who was co-defensive coordinator in New Orleans last year. This team is an interesting team. They had the 3rd most rushing yards in the league. They're very run heavy, which is interesting because they are riding with Desmond Ridder as their starting quarterback. Last year, he had 4 starts. He was 73 for 115, 708 yards, 2 touchdowns thrown, 0 interceptions. He has a little bit of run game to him. He's a big, intangible guy. People say he's a great leader. Unfortunately, he's not thought of as a top-tier quarterback. In fact, Chris Sims ranked him as the 40th best quarterback in the NFL, according to Chris Sims. That's behind all the rookies and some backups. Their number 1 pick was a running back, Bijan Robinson. He is considered a generational talent. Looking at him, he was the 8th pick overall. You know, we might talk about how much the league hates running backs. He might be the next Saquon Barkley, according to some. It's funny because he actually replaces, well, I guess they'll be a tandem, but Tyler Aguiar was went over 1,000 yards himself last year. And they have Cordell Patterson, Swiss Army knife, receiver, running back, old man version of Debo. As a receiver, they have Drake London, who came off a very strong rookie season. He did very well with Ritter in those last 4 starts. The rest of the receiving core, not very impressive. Mac Hollins and Scotty Miller from Tampa Bay. But they do have a tight end, Kyle Pitts. If you remember a couple years ago, he was supposed to be the man. I believe he made the Pro Bowl in his rookie season. Pro Bowl, I don't really have much to say about that because, you know, probably 5 people did not go to the Pro Bowl and then you get nominated in. But last year he had a little bit of fallback, partially because of injury. Speaking of last year, they were 7-10. They've actually won 7 games, 4 of their last 5 seasons. Consistently mediocre. This year, their win expectation is 8.5 games. Mike Steph, what do you think is going to happen with Atlanta this year?
The reason I'm laughing is because anybody who knows me when it comes to sports takes, know I have an extremely large petty gene. And for various reasons, which we'll get to when we get to that division, one of my focus of slander will not be on the agenda this season. So I'm not saying this team is going to replace it, but Atlanta ain't going nowhere. Atlanta's going nowhere. Atlanta, like you said, they won 7 games, 4 of the last 5 seasons? And that's even with the last 2 seasons, we actually have an extra game. And they still couldn't even get an extra game on their win total. To me, they like you said, old man Cordell Patterson. Like, how old is he? Like, he got to be in his mid-30s by now. Wasn't he with the Patriots? And I think they used him in the COVID season with him and Cam Newton back in then. I might be mistaken, but Cordell Patterson is your go-to player. Kyle Pitts, after 3 years, like you said, anybody can make a Pro Bowl nowadays. They don't even tackle in the Pro Bowl no more. It's literally 2-hand touch. So Pro Bowl, give me some All-Pro. Arthur Smith, good coach. To me, I think he's been dealt a bad hand. You got, like you said, you got Ritter, the tangible guy. Intangibles and $2 would get you not even a half a hero. To me, when it comes to Atlanta, at least, you know, because look, I'm big on intangibles. Not when it comes to some also ran. You know, if he was so good, why did they stake their horse to Mariota last year? You know, Netflix actually has a series on quarterbacks. They featured Kirk Cousins, Patrick Mahomes, and Marcus Mariota. Do you know what those 3 have in common? Absolutely nothing. Matter of fact, 2 of them have something in common. 2 of them were better than Marcus Mariota. This is what Atlanta does. The only thing Atlanta is good for is wings, lemon pepper wings. Ask Lou Williams. They got Calais Campbell, who's like 38, 39 years old. Like, and that's one of your free agent pickups. I'm supposed to be impressed. The reason I have all this venom for Atlanta is actually twofold. One, and this is personal, and hopefully this makes the cut. I have a brother-in-law that resides in the state of Georgia that resides in Atlanta by the name of Low Fat Beats. And he sends me many a meme talking about his Atlanta Braves and my New York Metropolitans and how we're 19 games below them in the standings. So guess what? Guess what, brother? This is my revenge. And ain't damn thing I said is a lie. Tell me, show me the lie. Tell me when I'm telling lies. I doubt you can find a lie in anything that I've said. Even your backup quarterback is Tyler Heineken, if you will, who I guarantee by week 5 will probably be the starting quarterback for 2 reasons. One, Ritter will be just that ineffective that you feel like, you know what, we need to take a step back, let him see it from the sideline, give him the world view. Or 2, they'll emphasize the running game so much that Ritter will be knocked on his ASS. So yeah, that's my view on the Atlanta Falcons. A middling franchise in a beautiful stadium. Actually, the stadium doesn't deserve to have such filth in its vicinity. So yeah, that's my view on the Atlanta Falcons. Dirty bird. Shoot, I wouldn't eat a damn thing from the Atlanta Falcons. Yeah.
All right, that's quite a take there. I'm with Mr. Low Fat Beats though. I think that this team is very mediocre, but they've made a couple of steps in the right direction. I could see 9-7 happening. I tell you what, I would 100% not bet that. I don't feel comfortable going over. I definitely don't feel like comfortable going underside. I don't know. Honestly, I expect them to have a lot of close games because they'll be running and defense, and it'll be a lot of lower scoring close games. So I'm expecting them to go 8-1. You heard it here first.
And this is the team I'm supposed to. You just said consistency. 7 wins for the last 5 years. Waste of space. Next team.
That is amazing.
Are you ready to step up your style without compromising the planet? Introducing the exciting partnership between Blueview Footwear and the 19 Media Group Network. Just visit bit.ly/Blueview19 to start your sustainable style journey. Our friends over at Blueview Footwear are renowned for introducing the world's first fully biodegradable sneaker. By using plant-based plastics, they are leading a revolution in cleaner materials and manufacturing. They have sleek and contemporary styles that cater to a wide range of tastes. Blueview Footwear believes that fashion and sustainability can coexist harmoniously. Explore their incredible collection of eco-friendly footwear by visiting bit.ly/Blueview19. If you let us know you made a purchase, we'll shout you out on our next show. Again, just visit bit.ly/Blueview19 today, and you'll see the ultimate collaboration of fashion, sustainability, and media excellence.
All right, I'm waiting for you to get some hate mail from Atlanta. But as I wait for that, we'll move on to the Carolina Panthers. They have a new head coach, Frank Wright. You may remember him from Indianapolis. He replaced Matt Rule. Well, he replaced Steve Wilkes, who replaced Matt Rule in Indiana, and he was coach of Buffalo too, right? Right?
No, he wasn't the coach of Buffalo. No, he was the
quarterback
and running back.
Yeah, he was quarterback.
He led them on that up until last year. History-making comeback against the Houston Oilers.
Yeah. Actually, you know what? I actually remember that's one of those things of where were you? I was in my room watching that game.
Oh, me too.
And my father came into the room at whatever they were completely blown out. And he says to me, "Do you think they'll come back?" And I looked at him like he was crazy, like he had 6 heads.
And sure enough, guess what they did?
I had egg on my face. All right. The Panthers, though, last year was 7-10. Their win totals the last 5 years. You ready? 7 wins, 5 wins, 5 wins, 5 wins, 7 wins. Not even making it to mediocre. But they have some changes this year. First of all, number 1 pick, Bryce Young, is taking over at quarterback. High IQ guy. He's a little short. They have him listed as 5'10". I don't think he is when I looked at it. I mean, it's hard to tell standing next to football players. I guess average people look short. But he looked below average to me. They signed a backup. Andy Dalton's there.
Big Red.
They got themselves a new running back, Miles Sanders. He's going to be a 3-down back there. You know, he was with Philadelphia last year. Bryce came at a cost, though. They lost DJ Moore in the trade, and then they acquired a couple more receivers. DJ Shark, speed guy, and Adam Thielen.
Fantasy, baby.
Does he still have it? Coming back is Terrence Marshall Jr., and then early in the second round, they drafted Jonathan Mingo. He might challenge Shark for starting duties right off the bat. The offensive line is the same as last year. And then on defense, they're making some changes. They're switching to a 3-4 defense. And they signed Von Bell to help out with toughness and leadership in the defensive backs. They had a very interesting season last year because they were terrible. They traded away McCaffrey, and then they started playing better under Steve Wilkes' reign as coach. It's odd that they changed coaches, but Frank Reich is a known winner. Their expected win total is 7.5 games this year. Mike Steph, what do you think of the Carolina Panthers this year?
You would hope with what they believe is a more steadier hand in the head coaching position. Like you said, you're seeing like you're questioning the decision of why they moved away from Wilkes and went to Reich. So am I, because last year could have, it should have been a pure disaster, and it wasn't. Actually put them in the position that they traded up to get the number 1 pick, because shoot, if they would have kept things the way they were, or if Steve Wilkes wouldn't have been as good as he was, they would have been trending to get the number 1 pick anyway, without trading assets. Because remember, up until let's say the last 3 weeks of the season, the division was still up for grabs between them and the Tampa Bay Bucks. Carolina, to me, and what you said the over-under would be, so what, 7.5?
7.5.
Okay, so I pretty much, I got Tampa for 7. I had Atlanta for, I think, under 8. So I think I had them for 7. So just by mathematics, I'm going to go over with Carolina. I think all these teams in various ways are kind of equal, which is equally mediocre. to be blunt, I believe that with their strength on defense and Bryce Young's ability, albeit, his lack of height, but the hype behind him, I really believe will be proven to be legit. And I think with the veteran talent around him, he's going to have a dependable running back in Sanders. He's going to have Adam Thielen, who is a pickup, and they're not expecting Adam Thielen to be the number 1 wide receiver, but will be a dependable target for their rookie quarterback. I believe they picked up Hayden Hurst also, so he'll have that dependable target in the middle of the field. And the one thing you can give credit to Frank Reich for is on the offensive side. So I will lead to go over. So, so I guess 8-9 wins. Matter of fact, I'll give them 8 wins. I'll give them 8 wins.
That 7.5 seems pretty perfect to me. I'm really questioning a lot of things. I don't know if Thielen still has it. He disappeared in Minnesota, and I think Cousins would have got it to him if he felt like he had anything left. So I'm questioning that. Miles Sanders didn't really impress me in Philadelphia. I mean, he's competent, but doesn't stand out to me. And I'm really worried about Bryce Young being so small and being a rookie. Jonathan Mingo might be the deciding factor there, because if he ends up being something right off the bat, I do trust Frank Wright. I'm still a little bit annoyed about Steve Wilkes not being in charge of this team, given a chance, but I think I'm going to go under. But 7.5 seems pretty much on the nose for me, so it's not something I would bet.
I get it. There's a lot of question marks. I just boil it down to me the strength or lack thereof of the conference as a whole. So that's why I'm kind of trending toward giving everybody a little bit more benefit of the doubt, except for Atlanta. So yeah,
I could definitely see it. Like I said, I think I'm going under, but I really don't. There's the variance here. There's so many factors that the variance seems very wide here. They could go anywhere. They could win 12. They could win 5. All right. Last but not least in the division is the New Orleans Saints. Their coach is Dennis Allen. He's a second-year coach. They do have some new pieces, though, particularly at quarterback. Derek Carr is replacing Jameson Winston and Andy Dalton. I like how you smiled at that. I don't think you're impressed. At running back is Alvin Kamara. They did sign Jamal Williams from Detroit, though. He just broke the record. I think he broke the record of Detroit Lions touchdowns for a season. Of course, extra game. But he had 17 touchdowns last year. The wide receivers, it's mostly a comeback. Chris Olive last year was a rookie, went over 1,000 yards. Michael Thomas is said to be healthy finally. May or may not remember how good he was a few years back. And then they have Rashid Shaheed as their third wide receiver. Juwan Johnson scored 7 touchdowns last year as their tight end. They completely revamped their defensive line, including drafting Brian Breesy in the first round. They were horrible against the run last year. They were 24th against the run. And then their linebackers and defensive backs are back. Another injury-prone player might be at 100% this year. That's Marshawn Lattimore. All right, Donnie. Last year they were 7-10 with Andy Dalton running the show most of the time. This year they're expected for 9.5 wins with Derek Carr. What do you think about the New Orleans Saints?
their over-under is 9.5 wins?
9.5. Clearly the favorites, according to Covers.com.
Oh, hell no. Oh, hell no. Listen, when's the last time Derek Carr won more than 9 games? I'll wait. The reason why I had that face when you was talking about the new quarterback, because there was a limited time that Jet Faithful, see how everything comes back to the Jets? There was a limited time that Jet Faithful was scared to death that Derek Carr was going to be out next quarterback. Look, Derek Carr is a competent quarterback. Derek Carr on a good week is a good quarterback. Is he a franchise quarterback? No, not in my opinion. I think that would have been money better saved if they would have just invested again in Jameis Winston, because to tell you the truth, Jameis Winston, his downfall was injury. Did he play up to par? No, but when he was healthy with New Orleans, especially under the stewardship of Sean Payton, he was more than adequate. You say Michael Thomas is coming back and he's supposed to be finally healthy. Yeah, he's finally healthy. He's 30 years old. And why do you think he got injured so much? Because how many times was he going to go across the middle in those shallow slants? Because Drew Brees didn't have enough left in the arm that he could only do a 7-yard slant, and Michael Thomas would catch that and sometimes break it, and eventually his body broke down. The gist of my disgust, or should I say my lack of enthusiasm when it comes to New Orleans, starts and ends at the head coach, Dennis Allen. Dennis Allen is once again proof positive that some people are born to be coordinators. He was a good coordinator. He was a good coordinator while he was in that position with these New Orleans Saints. The only reason he got the job is because Sean Payton saw the writing on the wall and said, you know what? I think it's time for me to exit left. I never been a Dennis Allen fan. In his last stop, he never made the playoffs, and I think that trend will continue. So 9.5 wins? Hell no. Please. That ain't working.
I think I'm going to disagree with you again.
Par for the course.
Yeah, I got to keep it consistent.
Yeah, shoot. It makes for an interesting show.
It's going to make for an interesting end of season. Let's talk about who was right about stuff.
Oh, yeah. Because I will gloat. I will gloat. I will be the goat of gloating.
I won't blame you if I miss all these. I think Derek Carr is just a big step up from Andy Dalton. They had so many injuries last season that if they're healthy, I think they have a shot at 10 wins, and I think they're going to win this division. I could also see them winning the division at 9-8 because this division just is what it is.
Like you said, 7-10 could easily slip to 10-7, but at 9.5, and this is just based on that number, I think they're more like 8-9.
I can see it. The NFL is just like that. There's very balanced, and a lot of teams will win a couple of close games, and it will completely change their season. And really, it was just a ball bouncing a certain way or whatever. That's just the way it is. All right, that is the NFC South. I think we're heading up north next.
Yeah. I got Minnesota.
All right, so we're rising to the top. But for the South, we are done. Mike Steph, take us out.
Okay, this has been a very interesting edition of Hidden Gems Football. We're getting back into the groove. There's a lot of things that starting to come back like second nature. And one of those things is this outro. Hidden Gems Football is a part of the 19 Media Group. Goodbye.
Bye-bye. That's what we need in our lives.
This is a 19 Media Group presentation.
Or because the name changed, look, the mouth is still the same.
This guy.
Shoot, is there any more petty on this? Nah. Shoot, he better watch. Oh yeah, this hat is not going to change. This hat is not going to change. And we're not even talking about the AFC. And guess what? I'm repping my Jets. Jets.
We are back to talk. And I didn't. You were supposed to remind me about this, man.
Ay, coño.
All right, Donnie Oooh. Do you have any? Okay, Don. I just said it again. Okay, Mike Steph. Do you have any?
Hey, baby, you just got off work?
Yeah, I'm heading home now.
All right. Give us a call when you get to the train station.